All right, how's everyone doing? I am Rich Celenza. Thanks for checking out my show, The Rich Celenza Show. So, what I want to get into today is actually something I heard that I haven't heard in a long time. My buddy sent it to me on Facebook Messenger, and it was an Italian guy. And what he said kind of resonated with me because I remember hearing this, and I think it's kind of more of a Sicilian thing. I'm not positive. Kind of ridiculous. But he said it was there, and I kind of heard this before years ago, and it was if they fear you, they won't fuck with you. And, I don't know if you know anything about me, but I teach or I try to help men master their self-confidence. And, a lot of times it's really about helping men be who they truly want to be. That's really, I was thinking a lot about what confidence, in my opinion, is after years and years of even, marketing it, talking about it. And I was like, what it really comes down to a lot of times is men just being who they want to be and doing what they want to do. And that's not always going to be the case. I get it. We have different things that come into our lives, and we're going to have ups and downs in our lives, right? Regarding many things. You may be confident regarding some things, like I always talk about, and you may not be that confident regarding other things. That's life. I don't know anybody who's 100% confident in everything. And even if they are, then they're not experimenting enough, because there's no way you could try a lot of new things. I mean, don't get me wrong, trying something new, you could be very confident. I'm all about experimenting. But if you never jumped out of an airplane, hypothetically, and you got to go tandem, you may be confident to jump out of a plane, but you don't know what the hell you're doing most likely a lot of times. Not everybody, but I think you know what I'm saying. It's not just because, you have confidence doesn't mean you're confident in every single thing you're doing. Not only that, most likely you're going to fail as well a lot of times. And you have to have the confidence to say, you know what, at times I got to build up more confidence, even if you're confident, all this stuff. So a lot of guys I see, younger people especially, and I work with some, and I have a couple even living in my home, and I even have some daughters that are younger, I should say in their 20s, some are late teens. And, I think we all grew up in a different era, or I did, my generation. I was born in the 60s. And there was bullying back then. There's bullying now. I see a lot of bullying. We used to get verbally abused, I think, verbally, as far as bullying goes. And now it seems like I'm sure it happens. Personally, oh yeah, of course it does. I see that constantly online. But I'm saying it also seems like it's on social media. And, if you're someone out there that's getting fucked around, it's not easy. I get it. I remember being the smallest guy. I talk about it all the time, and it's not a boohoo story. But the difference with me, I was one of the strongest, smallest guys. That's the advantage I had. Don't know how or why, but I always lifted weights and I was always in shape. So even if I got in a jam with someone bigger, I either had better wind and I can really fight pretty well. Does that mean I was the toughest guy? No. But I had two older uncles that were I think they're between 6 and 8 years older than me, that beat the shit out of me, that were big Italian kids. And they didn't take shit from anybody, and they had no fear of punching in the face. And that's one thing I think that's quite interesting that I grew up with, when you fight someone, or you want to protect, I should say when you fight someone, it's not just the fear of getting your ass kicked. It's like the fear of getting in trouble. It's also the fear of hitting someone maybe in the face. It's all this fear-driven shit. That shit, a lot of that went out the window with me, which I was very fortunate. And back to not letting people fuck with you. You got to make a statement. You have to, I don't care what it is. You have to stand up for yourself throughout your life. I don't care what you do, how you do it. You got to do it. You can't expect other people to stand up for you all the time. You can't expect to live in other people's shadows. You've got to be a beast. I'm telling you, to yourself. You owe it to yourself. To survive, you have to learn how to protect yourself. I've done podcasts on this, that if you don't know how to protect yourself, that again doesn't mean you have to go out and become a martial arts black belt. I talk about it all the time. Or you got to go fight, professionally, or you got to go even in tournaments, or whatever the hell it is. You make it your own. Go do what you have to do to protect yourself. And what's going to also happen is you have to realize most likely you may or may not have a family in the future. You may or may be in situations where there are other people, I should say, there that you may have to protect. If you can't protect yourself, what the fuck? Right? I'm just saying. You can't expect someone always to be there. Now, God bless if you have a gun right? You're always like, hey, I got a gun. I carry a gun. I carried a gun for 20 years of my life. I mean, constantly. But a lot of times I didn't have the gun. And there was a lot of places I went where I couldn't carry a gun. Then what happens? Now, if the other person has a gun and you don't, of course, I'm not saying you're going to go heads up with them. But the reality is, a lot of times, you may be in a situation where you have to, again, not throw hands, protect yourself. There's a big difference. If people know you know how to protect yourself, I can assure you most likely they're not going to bother you. Again, you don't have to be a show-off, but I'm just telling you, people too know just by your posture. I just actually shot a video on this in the gym, how the importance of posture is. A lot of people are hunched, but also people that have bad posture, not that all of them are, but a lot of them look weak. Now, I'm not saying that people that have bad postures are all weak, or that's not what I'm saying. What I am saying, though, is a lot of your disposition and the way you carry yourself and the way you hold your shoulders back and the way you look as far as physically is going to be a game changer for you, too. Now, if you don't like to fight, you don't like confrontation, I get it. You also may want to try just lifting weights or getting a little more jacked. By just being a little more built, fit, people are not going to fuck with you a lot of times. And I also think a lot of times, and I hate to say this sometimes, and I've even been in those situations where people do get picked on sometimes because they deserve it. And I've been in those situations. I'd act like an asshole sometimes, or I would just misbehave or act a certain way, and then before you know, people start to act a certain way towards you, and then you're looking at them like, why are they the asshole? But the truth is, you kind of brought it upon yourself a lot of times. That's, again, just my opinion. But I'm just telling you here, man, I feel, I always want to reach out, and I think I did once, to the Bully Association, because, I heard something not long ago growing up, and I think it rang true to me. I think a lot of times a lot of people have been bullied in their life. And I also think a lot of people who've been bullied, have bullied others. And then there's another level where you're just a big bully asshole, right? I get it. But a lot of people don't recognize, and I've done a podcast on this, that, you may be the bully a lot of times. You may try bullying people, and then when they bully you back, you're like, what the hell? Why are they acting this way? I see this with a lot of people. It's kind of like people that yell or scream at people all the time. Then you yell and scream back at them, and they're like, hey, settle down. What are you so upset about? Why are you yelling? And I feel like saying, because you're always yelling, but they don't even acknowledge their own behavior. It's really interesting when it comes to those things. And I am going to just wrap it up pretty soon here with, my father we used to collect money legally and illegally for years, right? And my nickname was always Tiger when I was younger. And because I guess I was just, I was a little baby, or I was strong. I did all this crazy shit. I'd rip the side of the crib off the thing. My high chair, I'd rip the high chair, whatever, where you tore it off the thing and threw it across the room. I used to chew on I was just like a crazy animal. I'd break out. I was always crushing things. Who the hell knows? But as I got older, then when we were collecting money, we had problems. My father, because I got pretty big, and he'd say, send in the ape, which meant me. And a lot of times, I'd have to go pick up equipment by myself if there was a confrontation, or I had to go collect money, or I'd even have to go talk to, a lot of this was bar owners, bar managers in nightclubs, bars, lounges, gentlemen's clubs. And a lot of times when you have money, there's going to be confrontation, right? Let's call it for what it is, especially with bar owners. Throwing alcohol and drugs, it's a free-for-all. At the beginning, I kind of had to come in like an animal to a certain degree, looking to protect myself. Of course, I had a gun, and sometimes it'd be two of us to move equipment. Sometimes it'd be one, sometimes it'd be three. It just varied. It seemed better like when I go by myself. But, I realized, me just kind of going in and being calm and trying to just be very professional, it almost set them off, because they wanted a battle and you want to fight. But the more I knew, the more confident I was that I was just there to do my job. I wasn't there to do anything else. And I tried to be as professional as possible. The more, I can't say they feared me, but they knew that I can handle myself, if that makes sense. And that's almost even more scary to a certain degree than someone who comes in and acts like an asshole, or is trying to talk shit, or any of those type of things. So my point being really on this is, like, if if you learn how to handle yourself correctly, people will know, okay? And I think a lot of times with people always talking shit or always publicly trying to talk about all the bad, the fights they've been in and all the, shit that they've been involved in and out of the joint, all the bullshit, to a certain degree, I think a lot of times it may make others, like you or make you think you sound tougher, which you probably are tough. I don't know. But a lot of times it showed me that, maybe you're not that tough. Your words are tough. But the dudes, I do have a lot of friends or family members that have done a lot of crazy shit. And I just know, you just know by the way they behave, they are someone not to fuck with. And, I don't think a lot of people realize that, especially the young people, is if you know what you're doing, you know how to carry yourself, it's going to go a long way. I promise you. Don't think it goes unnoticed, but please protect yourself. Don't let anyone, I always say, fuck with you, your family, friends, or colleagues. Always have their back, okay? And by you having their back, a lot of times they'll have your back. And it goes a long way. I think the one thing I think people would say about me is I would always try to be there for anyone who needed me. And out of all the shit, people are always like, oh, what's the one trait that you like about yourself or whatever? Some people will be like, oh, I'm always loyal, or I don't lie, or I'm always, if you need me, I'm there, kind of that type of thing. I can't say that about myself. I'm always there if you need me for a lot of shit. I'm not. But I know if you're in a jam, I'm probably there. I'm there for you. Like, I am the one who will be there for you regardless what's going down. I'm not always going to be the guy that you're going to, have somebody to cry on your shoulder, because I travel so much and I'm just caught in my own world. But I can assure you, if you're close with me, or I know you and I love you, there's nothing I probably wouldn't do for you in certain situations. So I'm going to wrap it up there. If you get a chance, check out my YouTube channel. I've been doing a lot of different things on there. Obviously, if you watch any of them, some of them surround around fitness, confidence, and everything in between. A lot of things I've been doing lately. If you like wardrobe, I'm also trying to help men live an incredible, affordable life. Incredible life affordably, especially during Corona and, the pandemic. I know a lot of people are losing their jobs. And I just want people to understand they can still live a great life right now. Hopefully, until things get better. I don't want people to get nuts. But I'm trying to give you pointers on maybe clearing out your closet, making some money, also not spending a lot of money, also just how to shop maybe differently, and instead of pissing a lot of money away, kind of saving it, maybe investing it in other things, or doing whatever you want to do instead of kind of really just overspending, I guess you could say. So I'm also on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. All right, take care.